Leverage tokens. In this video, we will discuss the following. How does leverage tokens work? What is leverage drift? What is rebalancing? And how does it affect the tokens? What are the rebalancing styles? And which is better? Let's say there are two people, John and Peter. John is a spot trader. Peter, on the other hand, likes to trade leverage tokens because he likes to earn more. Both of them have an idea that BTC is going up. So, they save up $100,000 to buy some tokens. But before we continue, let's go through some terms. Exchange, a place where you trade money for tokens. Spot, a normal token without leverage. Leverage, one way to increase gains on a token. They both bought tokens with their $100,000. John bought BTC. Peter bought BTC 3x, a leverage token. Then, the price of BTC rose up by 10%, 100,000 to 110,000. Both of their portfolio gained value. But Peter has more gains due to the leverage. Under the hood of leverage tokens. Now, let's recap what happened to Peter's portfolio. When the price of BTC rose by 10%, Peter's portfolio gained 3x, or 30%. Let's check this illustration of 1 versus 3 BTC. We can see here by holding 3 BTC, you gain 3x returns of holding only 1 BTC. We can conclude that Peter is holding 3 BTC under his leverage tokens. But how? How did Peter get 3 BTC using his 100k? Yup, he used that 100k as a collateral to buy 3 BTC and invest it on the market. Okay, it's safe to say that debt is what's under the leverage tokens. But this would not be free, and some things would be attached to it. What are those? Management fee. When you borrow in a bank, you need to pay some things before they release you the money. Like shadow mortgage, processing fee, handling fee, etc. In the world of crypto, there is a management fee. You pay this to the exchange when you buy the tokens. Funding rate. Of course, when there is debt, there's most likely be interests. That is the funding rate. Collateral. This is the capital that the exchange holds when they give you the tokens. After learning what's under the leverage tokens, there's another concept we need to know. Leverage drift. What is this? Let's tell a story. In an RPG game, there's a mercenary called Bruno. He likes to save up his coins that he farms. He's a merc that likes to think about the future. That's why he knows BTC and leverage. When he was able to save up 1,000 coins, he went to town to search for toros. He paid these 1,000 coins and got the BTC 3x leverage tokens at the current price of BTC of 100,000. What happened on that transaction? When Bruno paid the 1,000 coins to Toros, it acted as a collateral, or we can call it NAV, or net asset value. This is the capital that Toros holds for Bruno. This capital grows when the token gains value or shrinks on a loss. The tokens given to Bruno, we can call that exposure. This is the capital or NAV times the leverage, which is 1,000 times 3 equals 3,000. This is the amount to be invested on the market. By the way, we would want to know the actual BTC count because it would be important later. We can get it by exposure 3,000 over BTC price 100k equals 0.03 BTC. This gains and loses value depending on market price as well. If we combine the two, we can get the leverage on the formula of exposure over NAV, which has the current value of 3. Bruno went back to the farming area to farm more coins. While farming, the price of BTC went up 100k to 110k, a 10% increase. Bruno was excited to know what happened, so he opened his menu to find the values of NAV, exposure, and leverage change. What happened? NAV, net asset value. When the BTC price rose up by 10%, this gained 30%, 10% times 3, or 300 from the 1,000. That's why the new value of NAB became 1,300. Exposure. Because the actual BTC exposure is 0.03 BTC, the exposure gained value by 0.03 times 110,000 equals 3,300. Leverage. When we go back to the formula of exposure over NAV, with the new values of exposure and NAV, we get the new leverage of 2.538. Now, to readjust the leverage back to 3x, we would need to rebalance. Let's make an analogy for rebalancing. Let's say we have a steering wheel, and due to some grease on the road, our car drifts by itself. We can think of this grease as changes on the market price. When this happens, it causes a leverage drift on the car, and we use the steering wheel to go back straight. When the price rises, our leverage drifts left or is reduced in value, because the changes on NAV and exposure are not aligned. Hence, the leverage is reduced in value. To fix this, we need to add some exposure to balance out the leverage. When the price drops, our leverage drifts to the right or gains value, because the NAV, the denominator, dropped way more than the exposure. Hence, the leverage gains in value. To fix this, we need to cut some exposure to balance out the leverage. This is how rebalancing works on leverage tokens. There are two types of rebalancing: the daily and the intraday rebalancing. Let's compare the two. Frequency. On daily, this happens once a day, while on intraday, it can happen multiple times. Trigger. Rebalancing triggers at the end of day daily, while on intraday, the price and volatility drives the rebalancing. Cost. Since we add or cut positions on the market to rebalance, the cost is minimal on daily due to only one transaction per day, while there are more transaction fees on an intraday rebalancing. Leverage control and range. On a base leverage of 3x, on daily, the leverage has a wider range to go around before it is rebalanced. On intraday, the leverage is tighter since it's adjusted before it trips too much from the base leverage. So who wins? Risk is less when the leverage is tighter, since the leverage tokens itself is a high-risk asset. Cutting risk where we can is a good thing. With this, the clear winner is intraday rebalancing. Thanks for listening. If you reached this point on the video, you're the group of people that I like to hear from. Shoot me an email or leave me a message on my bot here. I would love to hear from you. Bye-bye.